They draped themselves in Versace, flew in private jets lined with gold, and held wild parties in the tallest penthouses of Dubai. Their Instagram pages sparkled with Lamborghinis, Rolex watches, and briefcases full of cash. They called themselves kings of hustle, admired, envied, even worshipped by millions of followers. But behind the filters, the flashy cars and the staged smiles, was a billion-dollar scam. The Anuha brothers, once kings of social media clout, were brought down in an international investigation that stunned the world. Luxury turned into handcuffs. Fame became infamy. This is the story of how two brothers fooled the world with illusion and how the law finally caught up with them. This is the satisfying downfall of Dubai's flashiest scammers. The Anuha brothers. Who were the Anuha brothers? Prior to gaining social media popularity, the Anuha brothers were not much known about. They have a West African origin and came to the UAE to rebrand themselves similarly to luxury lifestyle influencers and entrepreneurs with humble beginnings. And they posed as self-lovers, as crypto gurus, developers of real estate, builders of brands. Yet what is their actual business? Fraud. The brothers ran 10,000s of cyber scam operations under false names and layers of shell companies. They organized phishing campaigns, business email compromise, BEC, and identity theft groups that swindled millions of dollars out of small companies, local governments, and even international charities. However, none of that was reflected in their online looks. They shared inspirational messages, show-off designer attires, spoke of being free with the money. They were not simply living in a lie, but selling it too, and millions of people believed it. The Lavish Illusion. They built their social media became an extravagance. Lamborghinis covered in chrome wraps, penthouse pools that have a view of the Burj Khalifa, haystacks of money in the form of birthday cake. Their admirers numbered in the millions, of course, so did their delusions. It was an everlasting deal. It was a new project. They recorded when they got to the personal airports, when they were shopping in Milan, or even when they handed out $1,000 tips to waiters. Their place in Dubai was rumored to have a gold-plated elevator. They marketed themselves as teachers of a new generation of hustlers. They would write, 9 to 5 is something you do not need. All you require is Wi-Fi and a vision. Yet it was something more sinister. They were not in any way teaching hustle. They were making practice of larceny. The crime behind the curtain, Anuha Brothers had a well-developed operation behind the scenes. Their cyber criminal unit had their location distributed across several nations. They exploited hackers, social engineers, and forgers of digital identity. The one brother was all about being in charge of logistics and tech. The other one was in charge of PR, payments, and appearances. They hacked financial information of corporations through phishing. They posed themselves as CEOs and emailed accounting departments with fake emails. At times, they stole whole websites to gather information on victims. There was a single scam that made a multinational oil company lose more than $30 million. The illegally obtained money was laundered with the help of crypto wallets, false invoices, and even false charities. Part of the money was channeled via shell companies in Dubai that were disguised as high-fashion brands. Then somebody botched even when they thought that all their footprints were wiped out in the sand. Did you know that the Anuha brothers had negotiated with real celebrities in order to introduce a crypto token based in Dubai? The pitch? A so-called luxury lifestyle coin that would actually allow you to book yachts, buy designer clothes, and even attend exclusive events all the time, continuing to generate passive income. They were going to name it GOLDX. Behind the scenes, it was a rug pulled in the making. Fake white papers, paid influencers, artificial hype. The aim was not even to change the crypto world, but to fade away when the crypto rose. However, detectives picked up the scheme. It did not launch it. Nevertheless, it was not the only example of them using the power of influence, image, and internet culture to create trust, only to betray it. The international manhunt begins. By the end of last year, law enforcement organizations in 5 countries started to compare cyber frauds with a scary resemblance. Interpol, FBI, Europol, and UAE Cybercrimes Unit were joined together. An electronic trail sent the IPs of the victims in the UK and Canada to offshore servers in Estonia, and then to the compound of the brothers in Dubai. Surveillance began. They bugged their phones. They were also monitored on the trip. Even their crypto wallets were noted closely. Operation Mirage started on May 18, 2023 by the Dubai police. Several task forces stormed the Anuha mansion in a synced attack. Closed-circuit TV records an invasion of the mirrored corridors and glass windows by a score of black-clad agents. Laptops, ledgers, designer bags, phones, all seized. The brothers, with handcuffs, in a daze, speechless, and at last on the run. Trial, justice, and the fall from grace. The brothers were extradited to the United States, and they were indicted by a grand jury to face wire fraud, conspiracy, money laundering, and identity theft charges. Court records of a huge and elaborate criminal network with over 100 bank accounts, dozens of digital wallets, and over a loss of $170+ million were reported. The duo had hidden their trails skillfully through shell companies and cryptocurrency mixers, as well as offshore transfers. At first, they both pleaded not guilty, preserving an air of certain self-possession in the eyes of publicity. However, secretly, federal investigators had already gathered all the digital evidence needed to crack the case open-wide Telegram chats of their plans. False invoices created using hacked servers, records of transfer trails, and more. But at length, the strain was too much. They took a plea bargain. In 2024, Anuha Brothers received an 18-year and 22-year term in federal prison. Their branded cars, precious jewelry, and multi-million-dollar homes were ransacked and sold out to the highest bidders, and the money used to pay out restitution to the victims in a court-approved restitution program. Their smug social media accounts were wiped out, profiles closed and preserved by the police as data to be used as evidence. They were so blatant with their jets and gold phones, and today they are dressed in jumpsuits. They ceased being the influencers or moguls. Only 2 prison identities on a federal database. Justice had come, all right. The message they left behind. It is not only about fraud when it comes to the downfall of the Anuha brothers. It is a work about the imagination of contemporary fame. Credibility comes down to clout in the world in which we live, where candid photographs are delusional, where a chartered plane and bogus Rolex make $1 million out of a following base. The brothers took advantage of that. They created altars of illusion, and millions of people were invited to worship. However, they revealed more. The ease at which we believed what happens on the internet, and how implorable some are to covet what they hear, rid to look successful. They did not only cheat banks, they con-tricked belief, and they made us remember everything. The difference between an influencer and an imposter is slimmer than we imagine. The Anuha brothers reared on lies, castles of illusion, and were crushed down by truth. Their online empires, praised by others on the luxury provided by their online empire, was no more than a decoy filled with carefully cultivated smoke to leave their elaborate scheme of fraud behind. They have branded scamming as a type of life. They were posting on jets, watches, and money that was not theirs. Not only were millions stolen, but also trust was destroyed, and in the end, justice prevailed. Their downfall is a chilling reminder of how virtual celebrity can be whatever people want it to be. And of course, if this story has made you open your eyes to the dark underbelly of digital stardom, give it a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more exposes on the true crime, and leave us a comment. What do you do to stay safe in a world of digital trickery? Goodbye until the next time. Be smart and be skeptical, and always remember not every king wears a crown. Others end up in handcuffs.